Dr. Deepika, Malik. Today's topic of discussion is design of a fermenter. DeBazy and Liebman in 1944 used the first large-scale above 20-liter capacity fermenter for the production of yeast, but it was during the First World War a British scientist named Chen Wiseman developed a fermenter for the production of acetone. Since importance of aseptic conditions was recognized, hence steps were taken to design and construct piping, joints and walls in which sterile conditions could be achieved and manufactured when required. The first pilot fermenter was erected in India at Hindustan Antibiotic Limited, Pimpri, Pune in the year 1950. Now, what are the basic functions of a fermenter? The vessel should be capable of being operated aseptically for a number of days and should be reliable in long-term operation and meet the requirements of containment regulations. Adequate aeration and agitation should be provided to meet the metabolic requirements of the microorganism. However, the mixing should not cause damage to the organism. Power consumption should be as low as possible. A system of temperature controls should be provided. A system of pH control should also be provided. Sampling facilities should be provided. Evaporation losses from the fermenter should not be excessive. The vessel should be designed to require the minimal use of labor in operation, harvesting, cleaning and maintenance. Ideally, the vessel should be suitable for a range of processes, but this may be restricted because of containment regulations. The vessel should be constructed to ensure smooth internal surfaces. The vessel should be of similar geometry of both smaller and larger vessels in the pilot plant to facilitate scale-up. This means if the size of the fermenter is increased, its height to width ratio should increase proportionally and the geometry should be maintained. Next, the cheapest material which enables satisfactory results to be achieved should be used. There should be adequate service provisions for individual plants. The next slide shows the different parts of a fermenter. First is the materials used for body construction. Second are the seals. Third, mixing components which includes impellers, sparger and baffles. Fourth are the ports from where media, inoculum, antifoam agents and acid or base can enter the fermenter. Then sampling point, bottom drainage system which is also called outlet, air filters, pH control device, temperature control device, pressure gauge for maintaining pressure, dissolved oxygen probe, rotameter and foam control device. You can also see a diagrammatic representation of the fermenter showing all the parts as mentioned. Now let us discuss all these parts one by one in detail. First are the material used for fermenter. The material used for making fermenters should have the following properties. It should be non-corrosive, non-toxic, tolerable to repeated steam sterilization cycles. It should be able to withstand high pressure and resist pH changes. Selection of the material also depends on the type of fermentation process to be carried out. Mainly, two types of materials are used worldwide for the manufacture of fermenters. These are glass and stainless steel. Now we'll discuss both these types one by one. Glass fermenters. On a small scale, that is laboratory scale, it is possible to use glass, usually for a volume of 1 to 30 decimeter cube. Glass is useful because it gives smooth surfaces, it is non-toxic, corrosion proof and it is usually easy to examine the interior of the vessel. These can be of two types. First, a glass vessel with a round or flat bottom and a top flange carrying plate. A flange is an external or internal ridge or rim. Basically, it is a plate having holes from where different inlet points can be created. All vessels of this type have to be sterilized by autoclaving, as you can see in the first image. The second type, that is a glass cylinder with stainless steel top, flange carrying plate and bottom solid plates. Vessels with two stainless steel plates cost approximately 50% more than those with just a top plate. These top flange carrying plates provides port for the entrance of media, inoculum, buffers and antifoam agents. At pilot and large scale, when all fermenters are sterilized in situ, that is in place, Any materials used will have to be assessed on their ability to withstand pressure sterilization and corrosion and on their potential toxicity and cost. Now coming to the second body type, stainless steel fermenters. Fermenters are normally constructed of stainless steel or at least have a stainless steel cladding or layering to limit corrosion. The American Iron and Steel Institute, that is AISI, states that steels containing less than 4% chromium are classified as steel alloys and those containing more than 4% are classified as stainless steels. Mild steel coated with glass or phenolic epoxy materials have occasionally been used. Coatings with these chemicals offer consistent high quality corrosion protection for a wide range of applications. Stainless steel 304 and 316 grade coated with epoxy or glass lining are into use. The corrosion resistance of stainless steel is thought to depend on the existence of a thin hydrous oxide film on the surface of the metal. The composition of this film varies with different steel alloys and different manufacturing process treatments such as rolling, pickling, that is removal of impurities such as stains, inorganic contaminants, rusts, or heat treatment. The film is stabilized by chromium and is considered to be continuous, non-porous, insoluble and self-healing. If damaged, the film will repair itself when exposed to air or an oxidizing agent. The minimum amount of chromium needed to resist corrosion will depend on the corroding agent in a particular environment such as acids, alkalis, gases, soil, salt or fresh water. Increasing the chromium content enhances resistance to corrosion, but only grades of steel containing at least 10 to 13% chromium develop an effective film. The inclusion of nickel in high percent chromium steels enhances their resistance and improves their engineering properties. The presence of molybdenum improves the resistance of stainless steels to solutions of halogen salts and pitting, that is making of small holes, by chloride ions in brine or seawater. Corrosion resistance can also be improved by tungsten, silicon and other elements. AISI grade 316 steels, which contains 18% chromium, 10% nickel and 2 to 2.5% molybdenum, are now commonly used in fermenter construction. Now second part of fermenter includes the types of seals. It is important to consider the ways in which a reliable aseptic seal is made between glass and glass, glass and metal, or metal and metal joints, such as between a fermenter vessel and a detachable top or base plate. Usually seals are required among the following places. First is between a fermenter vessel and a detachable top or base plate, and a sealing assembly for stirrer shaft. Now let us study about both the seals one by one. The first type of seal, that is between a fermenter vessel and a detachable top or base plate, is made of any of the following types. Gasket seal, which are suitable with glass to glass joints, which means that the fermenter body and the top flange carrying plates are both made up of glass. Nitrile or butyl rubbers are normally used for these seals as they will withstand fermentation process conditions. Lip seals are suitable with glass to metal joints, that is, the fermenter body is made up of glass and the above plate is made up of metal or stainless steel. These are generally made of silicon and fluorosilicon elastomers. Elastomers are natural or synthetic polymers having elastic properties. O-ring seal are suitable with metal to metal joints, that is, fermenter body and the above flange carrying plate are both made up of metal. These are made up of polytetrafluoroethylene (PTFE) and neoprene. The images on the right gives you more clear illustration of how these seals look like. Now the second type of sealing is the sealing assembly for stirrer shaft. Stirrer shaft is a device providing agitation, which we will be studying in more detail in the following slides. It must be sealed properly, ensuring a long-term aseptic conditions. There are various types of sealing assembly such as mechanical seal, packed gland seal and magnetic drive. As you can see in the image on the right side, the position where the seal is made passing through the top flange plate. So basically, to sum up, aseptic conditions can be maintained by forming these seals between the detachable top flange plate and the body of the fermenter. Also, aseptic sealing should also be made for stirrer shaft. Now coming to the third important part of fermenters are the mixing components. Structural components involved in mixing are of following three types, that is impellers for agitations, sparger for aeration, baffles for breaking vortex. The image on the right side shows the location of these mixing components. Impellers are located on the shaft in the center of the fermenter. Spargers are found just below the impellers at the base of the fermenter. Baffles are found along the side walls of the fermenter. Now what is the importance of agitation and aeration? They are important factor in the fermenter. It provides a provision for adequate mixing of the contents of a fermenter. Mixing helps to disperse the air bubbles, suspend cells, and enhance heat and mass transfer in the medium. Now let us discuss all these three components one by one in detail. First are the impellers or agitators. Agitation should ensure that a uniform suspension of microbial cells is achieved in a homogeneous nutrient medium. Agitation is carried out using impellers. These are mounted on a drive shaft and introduced into the fermenter through its lid. These are made up of impeller blades and the position may be varying according to the need and size of the fermenter. These impellers or blades are attached to a motor on the lid. Impellers may not be required in small-scale fermenters. The major function of an impeller is to aid in proper mixing of the following components uniformly throughout the fermentation vessel. That is, suspended microorganisms or microbial cells, media components, oxygen, and heat transfer. Impeller blades reduce the size of the air bubbles by breaking them and distributes them uniformly into the fermentation media. Impellers also help in breaking of foam bubbles in the head space of fermenter. This foam formed during fermentation process can cause a major problem of contamination. Therefore, it is important to break down these foam so that they don't overflow out of the fermenter and cause contamination. So basically impellers are helping in agitation or mixing of all the components present in the fermentation broth. Impellers can be classified into basic impellers and modern agitator developments. The following slide shows the four basic impellers used in fermenters. First are the disc turbines or Rushton turbines, which consists of a disc with a series of rectangular vanes or blades set in a vertical plane around the circumference, as you can see in the images and the diagram. Vaned disc has a series of rectangular vanes attached vertically to the underside. Air from the sparger hits the underside of the disc and is displaced towards the vanes where the air bubbles are broken up into smaller bubbles. So basically the air bubbles which are released by the spargers hit the below surface of the vaned disc, which then further breaks down these bubbles into smaller bubbles. Now let us see other types, that is open turbines of variable pitch and marine propellers. The vanes of a variable pitch open turbine and the blades of a marine propeller are attached directly to a boss on the agitator shaft. In this case, the air bubbles do not initially hit any surface before dispersion by the vanes or blades. This is because the blades are attached to very small discs as compared to the disc turbine and vaned discs, which are attached to a much larger plate. The next slide shows modern agitator developments. Four other modern agitator developments are derived from open turbines. The new turbine designs make it possible to replace Rushton turbines by the following features. They have larger, low-power agitators which do not lose as much power when aerated. They are able to handle higher air volumes without flooding and give better bulk blending and heat transfer characteristics in more viscous media. Good mixing and aeration in high viscosity broths may also be achieved by dual impeller combination, where the lower impeller acts as the gas disperser and the upper impeller acts primarily as a device for aiding circulation of vessel contents. The images on the right side shows the modern agitators, that is Kaba 6SR GT, Lightning A315, Prochem Max Flow T and Ekato Intermic. The next mixing components are the spargers or aerators. A sparger is an aeration system through which sterile air is introduced in the medium of the fermentation tank. Spargers are located at the bottom of the fermentation tank and below the impellers. Glass wool filters are used in a sparger for sterilization of air and other gases. The sparger pipes contain small holes of about 5 to 10 mm. Through these small holes, pressurized air is released in the aqueous fermentation media. The air released is in the form of tiny air bubbles. These air bubbles help in mixing of media. Impeller blades disperse air released through sparger into medium. The first diagram of the fermenter shows the location of sparger, which is below the impellers. And the second image shows a sparger releasing air bubbles into the glass fermenter. There are three types of spargers. First is the porous sparger. These type of spargers are used mainly in laboratory scale non-agitated fermenter, that is, fermenters of low volume with no impellers. These are mainly made up of ceramics. Pressure drop across the sparger occurs. That is, the pressure starts decreasing in the holes away from the inlet. So the holes near the inlet have a low pressure drop and the holes which are far away from the air inlet have high pressure drop. Fine holes may become blocked due to microbial growth around holes with low pressure. Second type of spargers are the orifice sparger or a perforated pipe. These are used in small or large scale agitated or non-agitated fermenters. Spargers have holes of at least 6 mm diameter. Third type are the nozzle sparger or an open or partially closed pipe. It is used in modern mechanically stirred fermenter designed from lab to industrial scale. It has a single open or partially closed pipe to provide the stream of air bubbles. The images of all the three types of sparger can be seen on the right side. The first image shows a ceramic porous sparger having very tiny holes. Second image is of orifice sparger which have a much bigger holes than the porous spargers. Third are the nozzle spargers which have a nozzle so that the bubbles are streamed in a particular direction with a speed. Third and the last type of mixing components are the baffles. Baffles are mounted on the walls of a fermenter. 4, 6 or 8 baffles may be used in a fermenter. Baffles are metal strips roughly 1/10 of the vessel diameter and are attached radially to the fermenter wall. The major function of baffles is to break the vortex formed during agitation process by the impellers. As you can see in the first image, vortex formation occurs due to agitation of fermentation media in one direction by the impellers in a fermenter with no baffles. So, if the vortex formed during this agitation is not broken, the fermentation media may spill out of fermenter and be a major cause of contamination. Therefore, it is important to break the vortex using a barrier in the form of baffles. As you can see in the second image that due to the presence of baffles there is breakdown of vortex. It is recommended that baffles should be installed so that a gap existed between them and the vessel wall so that there is a scoring action or rubbing action around and behind the baffles, thus minimizing microbial growth on the baffles and the fermenter walls. Now coming to the fourth part of the fermenter are the ports. Ports are located on the top flange carrying plate of the fermentation vessel. Different ports are present for the supply of different components via silicone tubes. The different type of ports can be feeding port for fermentation media in case where media is sterilized ex situ, that is the media is sterilized outside and then feeded into the fermenter through this feeding port. Second is the inoculation port for the seed culture or the microorganism. Third are the buffer port for buffers, that is acid and alkali, which are added as per the requirement of the pH. And antifoam port for the addition of antifoaming agents to maintain the foam level within the fermenter. Care should be taken that the port provides a septic transfer, that is there should be no contamination while transfer of these components into the fermenter. The reservoirs for the nutrients and inoculum and associated piping are steam sterilized in situ. Addition is done using peristaltic pump only after a septic connection has been established. As you can see in the diagram below, a peristaltic pump demonstrating movement of nutrient via transparent silicone tubes. As the pump or the black nozzle is rotating in the right direction, the components are also moving alongside it into the fermenter. Just for a better understanding, different colored dots are used so that you can understand the movement of the components in the right direction. Next part of the fermenter is the sampling point. Sampling point is used for time to time withdrawal of samples to monitor fermentation process and quality control. This sampling point should provide aseptic withdrawal of sample, because of which an aseptic barrier is maintained within the interior of the vessel and the exterior where the sample is collected. Next part is the bottom drainage system. It is a septic outlet present at the bottom of the fermenter for removal of entire fermented media and products formed after the fermentation process is completed. It is different from the sampling point. So basically, drainage point is a point where the fermenter is completely emptied after the fermentation is complete. Next are the air filters. Oxygen enriched air is used for sparging fermenters to achieve the desired broth aeration and dissolved oxygen levels. Fermenter air should be free of unwanted airborne microorganisms and bacteriophage contamination. It is important to prevent the entry of unwanted microorganisms from the environment that could interfere with the growth and multiplication of the selected fermentation organisms. Contamination would impact fermentation yield and compromise product quality. Depending on the nature of the fermenter, microbial culture in use, it may also be important to remove undesirable microorganisms from fermenter air exhaust before releasing it into the environment. Fermenter air filtration involves filtration of both inlet and exhaust air with pre-filtration and final filtration procedure. So basically, the air which is entering the fermenter should be free of any contamination or microbes so that it does not contaminate the fermentation media and interfere with the fermentation process. Also, when the air is released out of the fermenter, it should be free of any microbes so that it does not affect the environment. Inlet air filters. It is used to filter the air that is coming inside the fermenter to prevent any contamination of the fermentation broth. It consists of the following components. First is the compressor. A compressor is a mechanical device that increases the pressure of a gas by reducing its volume. Conditioner, a system for controlling the humidity and temperature. Pre-filters. Fermenter air pre-filtration of compressed air protects downstream final air filters. It is composed of fibrous materials which removes solid particles such as dust, pollen, mold and bacteria from air. Final sterile filters. Final fermenter air filtration provides a sterile barrier between compressed inlet gas supply to fermenter and fermenter broth contents via sparger. So basically, as you can see also in the diagram, that the final filters are a barrier between the outside and the inside of the fermenter. Now the exhaust air filters. It is used to filter the air that is going out of the fermenter to prevent the environment from being contaminated by any biohazards. They contain pre-filters which removes undesirable microorganisms to avoid their escaping out of the fermenter, and final sterile filters which provides a sterile barrier between the fermented air exhaust and the surrounding environment. Next part of the fermenter are the pH control device. In batch culture, the pH of an actively growing culture will not remain constant for very long. The pH controlling device or probe checks the pH of the fermentation media at specific intervals of time and adjusts the pH to its optimum level by addition of acids or alkali for maximum yield of the product. Probes are mainly sensors which are sensing the change in pH within the fermentation media. Maintaining pH to its optimum level is very important for growth of microorganism to obtain a desired product. The control of pH values is ensured with the help of peristaltic pumps, as we have seen earlier, which releases acid or alkali via silicon tubes. For pH, only sterilizable electrodes are used. The electrodes used are mainly combined glass reference electrodes that can withstand repeated sterilization at 121 degrees Celsius. The electrodes can be silver chloride electrodes with potassium chloride as electrolyte, or calomel or mercury electrodes. The electrode is connected via leads to a pH meter or controller which monitors the pH value and commands for the release of acid or alkali as per the requirement. Next part is a temperature control device. Temperature control device generally contains a thermometer or probe, a heating element and cooling coils or jackets around fermenter. These jackets are on and off depending on the need for heating or cooling. During fermentation process, various reactions takes place in a fermenter which leads to the generation of heat in the fermentation media. This leads to increase in temperature which is detrimental for the growth of microorganisms and may slow down the fermentation process. Temperature probe is used to measure the temperature of the culture broth in the fermentation vessel like stainless steel platinum resistance electrode sensors, that is PT100. A temperature probe is a type of temperature sensor. Some temperature probes can measure temperature by being placed on the surface. Others will need to be inserted or immersed in liquid to be able to measure the temperature. Other temperature measurement devices include glass thermometers with mercury, bimetallic thermometers, pressure bulb thermometers, thermocouples, thermistors, or metal resistant thermometers. The image on the right side shows a fermenter containing a thermometer which is dipped into the fermentation media to record its temperature during the fermentation process. Next part is the pressure gauge. Industrial fermenters are designed to withstand a specific working pressure. Pressure measurements are required as a factor of safety. It is important to fit the equipment with devices that sense, indicate and control pressure. The correct pressure is maintained by regulatory valves controlled by associated pressure gauges. Gauges help to ensure that there are no leaks or pressure changes that could affect the operating conditions of a bioreactor. Following are some pressure measuring sensors that are Bourdon tube pressure gauge, diaphragm gauge or piezoelectric transducer. Next part is the dissolved oxygen probe. It monitors the dissolved oxygen in the system. It is measured by dissolved oxygen probe. Dissolved oxygen electrodes measure partial pressure of dissolved oxygen. In case of low oxygen tension in broth, more oxygen is purged in fermenter and or agitator speed is increased. The electrodes used to measure dissolved oxygen are polarographic electrodes or phase fluorometric oxygen sensor. Next part includes the rotameter, which is a device that measures the flow rate of air. It indicates rate of airflow into vessel. It is attached to air spouger. Pressure valve is attached to rotameter for safer operation. The last part in the design of fermenter are the foam control devices. Foam is produced during the fermentation process as a result of continuous agitation of the fermentation broth. This may lead to spill out of the media out of the fermenter and cause media loss as well as contamination. Therefore, it is necessary to remove or break or neutralize this foam with the help of anti-foaming agents. Foams can be eliminated by two methods. First is by use of anti-foam agents or second by mechanical breaking of foam. Now let us discuss both the methods. First is by the use of anti-foam agents. The setup includes a sensor and a small tank containing anti-foam agent as you can see in the diagram. A probe or foam sensing and control unit is inserted through the top plate. It is inserted at a defined level above the broth surface. When the foam rises and touches the probe surface or tip, a current is passed through the circuit which activates the pump and anti-foam is released within seconds. Examples of anti-foaming agents includes insoluble oils, polydimethylsiloxanes and other silicones, certain alcohols, stearates and glycols. Characteristics of a perfect anti-foam agents are that it should have long durability, that is, it should be consumed slowly. They should have low viscosity so that there is ease of pumping and dosing into the fermenter. The anti-foam agent should be stable while storage. It should also show stability when it disperses into the fermenter as a foament so that it shows effective results as an anti-foaming agent. It should have high activity, that is, low dosing should give high results. It should be effective at low and high temperatures. At low and high pH, it should be effective in high salt concentrations. Second method for controlling foam is by mechanical breaking of foam. Mechanical antifoam devices like discs, propellers, brushes or hollow cones are attached to impeller shaft above the broth surface. Foam is broken down when it is thrown against the walls of the fermenter. As you can see in the diagram, the foam breaker is present above the impellers so that the foams do not cross this level. Now let us have a quick review on different parts of the fermenter. For better understanding, I have categorized these parts into 4 categories. First, for the external area, the different parts are the body materials, which are mainly made up of glass and stainless steel. Second are the seals, which can be seen between a fermenter vessel and a detachable top or base plate, and these can be of 3 types: gasket seal, which is suitable with glass to glass joints, lip seal, which is suitable with glass to metal joints, and O-ring seals, which are suitable with metal to metal joints. Second type of sealing is observed for stirrer shaft, that is a seal between the stirrer shaft motor and the top flange plate of the fermenter. These can also be of 3 types, that is mechanical seal, packed gland seal and magnetic drive. Second category includes agitation and aeration, which is carried out by the 3 major mixing components. First is the agitation by impellers. These can be divided as basic impellers, which are disc turbine or Rushton turbines, vent disc, open turbines of variable pitch and marine propellers, or modern agitator developments like Scaba 6S RGT, Lightning A315, Prochem Max Fellow T and Ikato Intermic. Second mixing components are the sparger, which causes aeration. These can be of further 3 types, that is porous spargers, orifice spargers and nozzle spargers. And third are the baffles, for the breaking of the vortex formed during the agitation of the fermentation media. Third category includes the inlets and outlets. Inlets includes ports, which are the feeding ports for the supply of the fermentation media, inoculation port for the supply of the seed culture or the microorganism which is supposed to cause the fermentation process, buffer ports for the supply of acids and alkalis as per the requirement to maintain the pH within the fermenter, and antifoam port for the supply of antifoam agents so that the foaming do not interfere or spill out of the fermenters. Sampling point is an outlet point which is used for time to time withdrawal of samples to monitor the fermentation process and quality control of the product being formed. Bottom drainage system is again a drainage point at the bottom of the fermenter which acts as an outlet for the removal of entire fermented media and products formed after the fermentation process is completed. Air filters have both inlet and outlet point. Inlet air filters are used to filter the air that is coming inside the fermenter to prevent any contamination of the fermentation broth, whereas exhaust air filters are used to filter the air that is going out of the fermenter to prevent the environment from being contaminated by any biohazard microbe. And the fourth category includes the controlling devices. pH control device maintains the pH. Temperature control device maintains the temperature of the fermentation broth. Pressure gauge is a device that senses, indicates and controls pressure. Dissolved oxygen probe monitors the dissolved oxygen in the fermentation broth. Rotameter measures the flow rate of air within the fermenter. And the foam control device maintains the foam level within the fermenter either by the use of anti-foaming agents or by mechanical breakdown of foam by foam breakers. With this, we wind up the topic of design of fermenters. For any doubts and queries, you can contact me through the given email ID. Thank you.